family realize they were wrong about you? My sister Grace texted me 3 words the morning our father died. Too late again. She'd always known exactly where to twist the knife. I was sitting in a hospital parking lot in another state when I got the call. I'd driven 7 hours through the night, but Dad's heart gave out at 4 a.m. while I was still on the highway. I pulled over and threw up on the side of the road. Grace called an hour later, already organizing. The funeral's Wednesday. Dad's lawyer wants to do the will reading Thursday morning. Try not to have a work emergency this time. At the viewing, my grandmother shuffled over to me and grabbed my wrist. Grace never left his side. She moved her whole family closer just to take care of him. That's what a real daughter does. I didn't tell her that I'd been wiring Dad $2,500 every single month for 3 years. That money paid for the nurse who kept him alive long enough for Grace to visit on weekends. My cousin Marcus pulled me aside near the guest book. I don't want to be rude, but your dad told me he barely heard from you. Grace was picking up his prescriptions, driving him to appointments. She gave up her promotion for him. I wanted to show him the 247 missed calls from unknown numbers on my phone. That was Dad, confused from the medication, calling me at 2 a.m. because he forgot who I was. I answered every single one. Grace changed her number after the 3rd call. Dad's best friend Ray found me outside. Your father kept a photo of Grace's kids on his nightstand. He told me she was the one who showed up when it mattered. I don't know what happened between you two, but a parent remembers who was there. I didn't tell Ray that I'd flown home 9 times in 2 years, that I'd slept on a hospital floor, that I'd found Dad wandering his neighborhood in January wearing a bathrobe because Grace said she'd check on him that week and didn't. I just said, she's a good sister. Grace cornered me in the kitchen after the reception. Her eyes were red, but her voice was ice. Dad asked for me in his last moments. Not you, me. I held his hand while you were probably on some conference call. I sacrificed everything and you just sent checks like he was a subscription service. I could have told her that those checks were the only reason Dad still had a house, that I'd refinanced my own apartment to cover his surgery, that I'd spent $94,000 in 2 years and never told anyone because Dad begged me not to. He said it would embarrass him if people knew his daughter was supporting him, so I stayed quiet and let Grace play hero while I went broke saving his life. Thursday morning, we sat in Dad's living room for the will reading. Grace positioned herself in Dad's old recliner. The lawyer opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick envelope. Your father left very specific instructions. Grace smiled. The lawyer read, the house and all its contents, valued at $525,000, go to my daughter. Grace nodded, then froze. The lawyer wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me. His retirement accounts, totaling $410,000, also go to my daughter. He said my name. Grace shot out of the recliner. That's not possible. I was here. I gave up everything. She disappeared. The lawyer held up his hand. There's more. Your father left a letter to be read aloud. He unfolded a single handwritten page and began reading. Grace, I love you, but I'm not confused anymore, and I need you to hear this. You visited me 41 times in 3 years. I counted because counting gave me something to do in that empty house. 34 of those visits, you asked me to sign something. A credit card, a loan application, my car title. You used my name to open 3 accounts I never agreed to. I found out because your sister hired me a financial advisor with her own money. The room was dead silent. The lawyer kept reading. Your sister called me every single night at 8 p.m. She thought I didn't know what those calls cost her because she was exhausted, and I could hear it in her voice. She never complained. She never told anyone what she spent. She just kept showing up in every way she could from 400 miles away. Grace, you moved closer, but you never actually came closer. There's a difference, and I spent my last year understanding it. Grace was shaking. The lawyer folded the letter and said, he also asked me to give you this. He handed Grace a small envelope. Inside was a single check for $15,000 with a note that said, this is what you spent on my actual care. I calculated it. We're even. Grace looked at me with something I'd never seen from her before. Not anger, recognition. I didn't say a word. Dad already said everything. This story shows that the people who sacrifice in silence are often the ones who get blamed the most, and the truth doesn't always arrive when you need it, but it does arrive. That father spent his final days making sure the record was set straight. Not out of cruelty, but out of love for the daughter the world refused to see. Sometimes showing up isn't about geography. It's about what you carry when nobody's watching. And that letter, that was a dying man's way of saying, I saw you. I always saw you.